Yo, let's go ahead and get to my third guest. He's a multi-time guest on the show. He's one of my favorite hip hop artists at the Ville. He's been very, very busy. He's got the Forever joint. He's got the Issue Down with Don B. And he's got the By the Horns too with Tez. Very, very busy MC, and I appreciate his time on the show as always. He's Mr. Too Exclusive. He goes by the name of Sammy. He's with me right now. What's good?
What's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you as always. Now, you know we're gonna dive in on a lot of things for these next 20, 25 minutes. So before I get into your current music, I had an interview with Peter Wesley a couple months ago, right? So I told this story that I met you both in person at Louisville. So it was the Louisville vibe, courtesy of Sasha Renee. Shout out to Sasha, doing things in Texas. Obviously, she relocated. They still kept the vibe going for as long as they could. So it was the last Louisville Vibe show of 2021, and I made the decision to make my way there so I can finally meet Peter Wesley. So I meet the guy, very cool dude, very humble dude, man. You know, we got interests, we got wrestling, music, things like that. So, and then I noticed somebody was sitting next to him, and he had a two on the top of his hoodie. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's Sammy? So I had to get off my seat, sit next to the dude in the hoodie, just to make sure. And yes, it was you that night. I met you
Yeah.
as well. So you're like, wait a minute, that's the legendary Kenny Collins? I'm like, well, guilty as charged. Yeah, that's me. So it was good to meet you and Peter that night. That was a good night at the Louisville Vibe. So shout out to everybody that puts that together, Sasha and everyone. That's an awesome vibe. So
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Sasha for keeping it going, putting it on in the first place, keeping it going. It's always good when all the artists in Louisville come out and support each other. So I appreciate you being out there, and Track King Kai was there, and rocking out with Peter.
yeah, and that was the first time y'all performed songs off the main event project y'all put out last year. So
Yep.
make sure y'all go stream that as well. The main event collaboration project from Peter Wesley and Simi. But that's on to you, man. We got a lot to talk about, bruh.
For
Uh,
sure.
so on the music side, you've been busy. You've been very collaborative this year. So let's start off with the collaboration with Don B, who is
Yes.
easily one of the nicest MCs in Louisville. He's a dope artist himself. How did you and Don linked up and say, "Hey, man, let's do a collaboration album"? How did that came about?
Kind of just going through beats, and me and Kadam has collaborated on some tracks before. So I was like, we done had a good vibe before, so let's go ahead and throw together an album. Um, Man, just really Dom is so versatile. It's like I could kind of do whatever I want to do, so it was really a no-brainer. That was one of my checklists for a long time. Get an album out with Dom, and he knocked out the park though. So I was really glad. But yeah, it really just kind of looked up one day, was like, dog, I can do a project with Dom, like, and threw it up, and like I say, he hit it out the park.
Yeah, the name of the album's called "Is You Down," and I'm looking at the album cover. It's got the Matrix feels to it, with the green
Yep.
stuff in the background. So it's a dope collaboration project. Shout out to the homie Don B, doing his thing. He had a busy last year. He did multiple songs. He did a rock inspired project, like a hip hop rock
Yep.
project. So he's staying busy as always. It's always good to hear Don B. It's even more cool to see two of your favorite local artists say, "Hey man, let's link up, man." So that's
For sure.
a
That's
that's
what
a
I'm trying
dope.
to do, man. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do. Get the city something special.
Yeah, so that's the thing with Louisville, as far as the talent that they have, man. It's just a lot of camaraderie, being together, supporting each other, going to each other's shows. It's these last few years. It's definitely a good time to be a Louisville hip hop artist. It's good times,
Right.
so. Now, let's get to the project with you and Tez. This is a follow up to By the Horns. This is the second installment. So you and Tez obviously got history. So with all that being said, what was it like to put out the follow up to By the Horns?
Yeah. So, like the first one, the last project we talked about with Don, that was about the Matrix. So I like to always say that project, with the beats and the sounds, it sound like something that they listen to in the Matrix if they was listening to some hip hop stuff. So with By the Horns too, I really wrote a lot of that record during during the NBA Finals. So I kind of thought, it sounded like championship music, and I was like, man, who would really fit? And I was like, man, it's a layup with Tez. We like you said, we had history, and you know, he really followed through with it and knocked out the park too. I just felt like a lot of the sounds and stuff, it would fit. Different styles that he brings, and as well as myself. So, um, man, it was just real dope working with him again, and we knocked out a full album this time. Gave you about 10 tracks. So, first time it was just an EP, gave you about six. So to double it up, really, was really icing on the cake for me.
Yeah, it's with this album cover. It's got the Larry O'Brien Trophy, got a goat. You know what I'm saying? I got a feeling Shannon
Yep.
Sharp is inside that goat mask, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So you say that this project was recorded during the NBA Finals. Um,
Yeah, it was written. Yeah, written and recorded. Yes, sir.
so Golden State Warriors are the champs again, going through a couple of rough years with injuries, you know. And I use this. I think you get a kick out of this analogy. Um, it's a Seth Rollins analogy from years back when he came back from the injury. Like we build, we design, we gain. That was
That's right.
the mentality from the Golden State Warriors, and they've
That's
now
right.
won 4 championships in 8 years. Um,
Yeah, and they might keep going.
Even with the luxury tax and the financial issues they have, as long as you got Steph, Clay, and Draymond, they gonna be fine. And
Yeah.
obviously, them being healthy helps too. So as for Boston, I feel like their future is bright. They just, like anyone else, man, you got to go through some failure in order to get to that championship glory. So that they were able to break through the way that they have, and they might be the reason that the Brooklyn Nets, what's left of them,
They the
Kyrie,
reason they imploded.
yeah, they the reason and it was a sweep. It was a
Yeah.
sweep. Like the only team to be swept in the playoffs is a team featuring KD and Kyrie. Now, Kyrie, that's a whole nother issue. Like we don't even have to go through what transpired. Like he just let it be known he didn't want he wanted to do things his way, and he left that team hanging. And KD, I don't know. It's just everybody was talking about, oh, they're gonna be a dynasty, and it just never materialized to it. So
Right.
So it's gonna be it's going to obviously Kyrie, he may come back. I don't think he's going to LA, even with them trying to get rid of Westbrook. So KD, I don't know. Usually players usually get their way, but I think these owners looking at these players and this player empowerment, and it's like, look, bro, you just signed this 4-year extension last year. You put us in this predicament, and you gonna get us out of it one way or another. So you could do what you want, but you ain't getting out of this one. This ain't, Kyrie got the option to get out after the next season, but KD don't. So it's going to be an interesting few months leading into the next season with those two. Um, so you got these collaboration projects. You staying busy. And I guess what I would also want to ask you, when we gonna get a solo semi project? When we gonna get that? Or are you just doing the continuing with just singles as of right now?
I'm actually already in the works with the solo project. That's gonna come out after this next project. I got one more collaborative joint coming. With some, it's gonna be a real big surprise. Like it's probably gonna be had the most features on it. Because the other projects have just been me and one homie. So now we're gonna try to double it up, triple it up, get as much talent on there as we can. Um, and really get that thing jamming. But after that, yeah, I got another solo project coming. It's already in the work. Um, but for right now, I got all eyes on this next project coming out. It's gonna be big, just like all the rest of them been big. This one's gonna be big.
Okay, just want to make sure. Like I'm enjoying your music regardless, But I'm seeing you doing your thing. You're being a team player out here, and that's a good look, man. But me
Yeah,
being a hip
everybody gotta eat.
Yeah, so you being a team player right now, and I definitely can respect that for sure. You got the Forever joint out there. I definitely like that joint. So go stream that as well. It's on the platforms as well. By the Horns too, with Tez, Issue Down with Don B, and then he's got another collaboration project coming, let's just say probably in the fall, because you got the spring and summer covered with these projects, so you got something in store for the fall for sure. It appears.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, so be on the lookout for that. So we gotta talk wrestling on this show. On
Oh
this,
yeah, let's get into it.
so let's get into it. So for those that's been sleeping under a rock these last few weeks, Vince McMahon has retired from the promotion from WWE, which means he's no longer the chairman, he's no longer a CEO, and more importantly to me, as a fan, he's no longer head of creative. But he's still a
That's right.
share.
Say that again.
He is no longer the head of creative. So yeah. So we know that Stephanie is a co-chair, a co-CEO. She's a chairwoman, excuse me, and Nick Khan's a co-CEO, and I guess that's Vince's decision to pick them as the new chairperson and co-CEOs. So, congrats to Stephanie. Nick. It seems like ever since Nick Khan got there, the McMahons have imploded. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
the personal, the allegations that's out there towards Vince. So let's not act like he's going out on a peaceful note. He's seen all this happening. Maybe some people got in his ear. Let's say, look, man, you're 77 years old. These allegations ain't a good look for the family and for the promotion. It's time for you to sit down for good. And I guess he listened. So whoever, whether it's him or the family, Triple H, Stephanie, or both, convinced him to hang it up I feel like for the first time as a lifelong WWE fan, I'm looking forward to the future. Um, is Triple H is now head of creative now, and I like what I see from Triple H thus far, from SummerSlam up to now. Um, Dakota Kai's back. Io Shirai is back. Now she's Io Sky. Bailey look like Bailey's got a squad going, and I love me some Bailey, so I'm happy that she's
Yeah,
back.
that's right.
Um, and then just last night on SmackDown, Triple H ain't letting up. He brought back Karrion Kross and Scarlett, and Karrion Kross attacked Drew McIntyre before SmackDown. I don't know if you heard Drew McIntyre prior to being attacked. I think he was supposed to say tribal chief, but he called Roman Reigns tribal queef. I don't know if that was
I caught that.
I don't know if that was accidental or was that a spur of the moment. I don't know, but that's a whole nother issue topic. All I'm saying is I am looking forward to the future of World Wrestling Entertainment. Because Vince, yes, he's a legend. He's done a lot for wrestling in general. But there's a reason why a lot of people have left and moved on to success elsewhere. And it's because of Vince and being out of touch and bumping heads with people. And Triple H is more relatable because he's an actual he's a wrestler. You know, he's more relatable. He's more in tune with today's wrestling than Vince is. So having him as head of creative, in my humble opinion, is a really good move. And as long as Triple H's health stays up, he should be the head of creative for as long as he wants to. So I'll ask you this, Sammy. What is your thoughts on WWE now that Vince McMahon is out of the way?
Well, just like to reiterate what you said, it's a good time for wrestling. I'm actually real happy that Triple H is able to heal up and everything and get back to taking the reins over Roman Reigns over, unintended. Uh, man, I'm glad he's back and bringing everybody back because, for me personally, that gold brand NXT from 2016 on, that's when I started watching it, was just the best thing we had at the time. And it's good that he's starting to bring back some of the people from that time. Hopefully he can bring back some more. Because Vince let a whole lot of people go, and I was like, man, them are some real good wrestlers. They can do a whole lot with them. But, it's good that Vince is going and off of creative. He got to handle his legal issues, but we ain't going to focus on that. We're going to focus on this product, and it's better in a week than it's been in years. And that's just Triple H got 1 week. So I hope he can keep the momentum going and not overdo it. Because sometimes you can get away with it, and every week you got somebody new coming back. But,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if he brought some more back. But, we just got to make sure we get the storylines together and make sure everybody is getting equal time. And because they got a lot of talent. And for the last couple of years, they've just been pushing a lot of that talent off. So hopefully Triple H can get in there and elevate everybody. And it'll elevate the whole wrestling scene, from AEW on to everything else.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. AEW, they gonna do them. Tony Khan is my biggest issue with that promotion. He's about to be way over his head with AEW and Ring of Honor trying to be in charge of two promotions, and you got a big roster of talent. People ain't gonna wait. Now, if Vince McMahon was still in charge, I think a lot of people probably would have stayed put. But now that Triple H is taking over, you're already hearing rumblings that people may open up the possibility of coming back. If you get MJF, and with that rating going to TV 14, and you giving these talent all this creative freedom, and you're not yelling at Michael Cole on the on the on the headphones. If you get MJF, that will be a pop. That will be a huge blow to AEW. Like you could lose some people, you can't afford to lose that guy because
Yeah, he's
he put on the promo of the year, and we haven't heard a peep from him since. I'm
man.
trying
I
to
think
fuck.
it's all the work.
Mm,
I think with the WWE's rating going up, I still just don't think MJF is. That's not the best fit for him and his act. Where he's at with AEW, I think is the best. He's still got a lot to go with AEW. He can go win the world championship. They already got that ball rolling. I think it's all the work. I just don't think. I think if MJF went to WWE, he'd be the Miz. We already got that. It's the Miz. He would just be better, a darker promo, but he can't go that dark because WWE was never. They wouldn't let him get out there and cuss like that and deliver promos like and a lot of stuff he says in AEW. I think it's a work, man. He'll be right back in AEW and he'll be the world champion probably by the end of the year.
you know, I'm only saying that suggestion because of Vince McMahon is gone, and I think Triple H
Yeah,
is giving people more creative freedom to
yeah,
do some things here and there, and the rating is up. Now, granted, you're not gonna curse up a storm like AEW, obviously, but I feel like MJF is someone that can adapt and still make it work, But we'll see. Tony Khan, you could lose a lot of people if you lose. Let's just say if it's legit, if there's real legit gripe between those two, and they don't come to an agreement on the contract or whatever, and you let him go, and here's the difference between both promotions. AEW doesn't have a no compete clause. So that means if you let somebody go, they can just go straight to a different company the next day.
yeah.
So it's I'm curious to see what happens with MJF. It might be a work, and who knows what's next for him. Look, they need something going into the All Out pay per view. Now you get Cole back, you get Danielson back, but if you don't get CM Punk, if that foot or whatever is not healed, then I don't know what to think of All Out in the coming weeks. Like, and it's in Chicago. It's in his hometown. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't give. And I like John Moxley as the interim champ. I'm cool with that. Look, and he's over his demons, and he's working. He's putting in the work. But CM Punk, man, we was robbed of the summer of Punk because he got hurt. So I'm just curious as to what the future holds for him. If he's gonna be back in time for IL, because you gotta have a main event on that show that's gonna have people really talk. You can't just do it like
Yep.
last year when you had Danielson and Cole debut all the same night. They all debut on the same night. Punk, Danielson, and Cole was all on the same night. This year's All Out got to be better than that. It's got to top that somehow. So we'll see. I'm joined with the homie Simi. He's got collaboration projects out. Issue Down with Don B and By the Horns 2 with Tez. He's got another collaboration project on the way. So be on the lookout for it and follow him on the social medias. 2 Exclusive Semi. On Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. He's on there. Show your support. Now, one more thing I want to get into. You're an Ohio State fan. I'm an Ohio State fan as far as football. The season's right around the corner.
Yep.
CJ Stroud's back for year 2. Henderson and that offense looks real good. So that's not even an issue. It's the defense. As far as new defensive coordinator, be very curious to see. And the first big challenge is week 1 against Notre Dame. And of course, the
Yep.
head coach, he's a former Buckeye, and I'm gonna be honest, he's been popping off towards his former school. So I feel like Ryan Day and company, they gotta look at this as personal. They gotta they
Yep.
gotta they gotta look at they gotta have that Michael Jordan energy. Like I take that personal. Like you used to be one of us, and you popping off at the school that gave you an opportunity. Oh, we gotta put 40 on y'all in Columbus on September 3rd. so
Yeah.
so
He got to come out strong.
yeah. So I'm cool with CJ Stroud. Learning from his first year. He's gonna be fine. Henderson's gonna be fine. I'm looking forward to Smith and Jibba and Fleeman and Rebecca and some of the other receivers they have. So again, the offense is not an issue. They'll be fine. They give you 30, 35 points per game. It's the defense got to hold their own against this tough competition. And getting a revenge against Michigan will be nice too. That will be nice.
Man, that got to happen. That's the only thing I'm looking at is getting that revenge because I was embarrassing
Yeah,
last year watching that.
yeah, that was tough.
Them boys went up there and got a little bit cold and everybody shriveled up. So they got to come back strong. We can't keep having
Yeah,
that. I know
and
we done won almost 10, 15 years straight, but
yeah,
I ain't accepting no loss against the team up north.
no, no, and just what made it tough for me is what made it tough for me is I was going to see Tech Nine that day, and I went into the concert a little depressed.
Yeah.
And I actually got to meet Tech Nine in some of the performance that night. Try to keep a straight face and whatnot. I'm like, dang.
Man, I feel the pain, man. I was depressed for the rest of the week, man. Almost the rest of the month. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, just that was
And
tough.
then they came out at the Rose Bowl starting to choke too. I said, man, where is the defense? So just like you said earlier, they got to make sure they rushing the passer better. And they got some good cover corners, but they're going to have to make sure they get together. They got a new defensive coordinator who came from the Big 12, so we'll see how that
Yeah,
translates.
yeah, Jack.
Yeah, they got to get that together.
I'm gonna need Jack Sawyer. I'm gonna need JTT. I'm gonna need that Bosa energy. I'm gonna need that Chase Young energy. Like elevate themselves in their second years at Ohio State. Make it a lot easier for the cornerbacks. I feel like that's the weak link for Ohio State overall. It's the secondary, but it's that if that defense can get it going, they'll be fine. Uh, Sammy, man, great chatting with you, being on the show as always, and I look forward to hearing more music from you with the collaborations and the solo project. I appreciate your time, bro. Thank you for being on it.